Hello there, I'm Brickjin, and today we're gonna be taking a look at all the classic minifigures from the 2006 to 2008 LEGO Batman line, and I'll be ranking them from my least to my most favorite. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to own these minifigures. Now that I have them in my hand, I think this would be a good opportunity to make videos on them. And special thanks to my good friend M&F Corp, who started on this little collection project and made this video possible. Before I get into the minifigures themselves, I like to point out that I will not be including any of the background characters like the Goons or the Arkham Guards. This video will only include all the 20 named characters and their variant from the original LEGO Batman line. So now that I'm done with that, let's get into the ranking. On the 20th spot we have Bruce Wayne himself. Sure, this version of Bruce Wayne is iconic to so many people, but he's really nothing that special in my opinion. The minifigure consists of no special prints. Overall, he doesn't really hold up that well, especially when comparing to the newer variant of Bruce Wayne minifigures. For the 19th place, I chose the Riddler. Despite being in the 19th spot, this minifigure is already much better than the prior one. This minifigure depicts the classic look of Riddler. It's not that well detailed, but it sure does the job. But in comparison to the other villains on this list, this one doesn't really age that well or as cool as the other one in my opinion. For the 18th spot, I think this one might be a bit controversial. It is the 2008 variant of Batman. This version of Batman is very detailed as it's based on the Dark Knight costume of the characters, but in my opinion that makes this minifigure's aesthetic clash with the rest of the minifigures from the line, which has more comical and simpler but effective art direction. Because of this minifigure is on the 18th place. For our 17th spot, we have the Black Suit Batman. This version of Batman is obviously inspired by the Tim Burton costume, though he has a gold emblem and belt instead of yellow like in the movie, which I prefer actually. Don't get me wrong, despite being in the 17th place, it's still a great Batman minifigures. I just prefer the other one later on the line. For the 16th place, we have Bane. This minifigure actually has one of the best printing in the entire line. It comes with very well detailed prints on both the back of the head and torso. But despite that, I feel like this minifigure doesn't really have a strong presence compared to the other villains minifigures on the list, which have more vibrant and interesting color schemes and stronger silhouette in my opinion. Not to mention that other Bane that comes out after this one also shares similar details to these minifigures. It was definitely good for its time, but when you compare it to a more modern variants of the character, this one doesn't really offer anything that special aside from being extremely hard to get and expensive. As for our 15th place, we have Catwoman. This version of Catwoman has a unique mold for her cowl or helmet, as LEGO changed it later in 2012, and for the better in my opinion. Despite almost perfectly captured the character look, I feel like she's the only minifigure in this line that still suffers from that awkward 2005 era LEGO art style that plagues the Harry Potter line, which can clearly be seen on her double-sided face. That is very rough looking. But overall, this is a very nice first attempt for what will later be the perfect Catwoman minifigures that came out later back in 2012. Next we have the Penguin. Again, LEGO was able to perfectly capture the character with these minifigures. It's very good, but I just prefer the other minifigures later on the list much more. And it's the same case with Bane, with how I feel like this specific version of Penguin doesn't really offer anything special that the new variant couldn't. Except for, again, being much harder to find and much more expensive. On the 13th spot, we have Poison Ivy. I really love the color scheme of these minifigures, and the face print is perfect. It really captures that femme fatale looks, and I really think that the design being quite simple is very effective. And the contrast between dark red and green is so aesthetically pleasing. One thing that kinda holds this minifigure back in my opinion is that it came a bit too early for that Elsa from Indiana Jones hairpiece, which came out in 2009. I think the people at LEGO agree with me on this one, since they later give the newer Poison Ivy that hair after the theme rebooted, except for the latest and the LEGO Batman movie variant, which is by far my favorite version of the characters. For the 12th place we have Alfred. LEGO nailed this minifigure the first time. It is just so perfect in every way. This minifigure is so good and still hold up to this day, despite being almost 20 years old. Only beaten by the LEGO Batman movie version, again. Number 11 is Killer Croc. Man, the list is getting hard to rank. Again, Like Alfred, they nailed this minifigure the first time too. I say I much prefer the normal green color of this minifigure to the olive green of the latest version that comes in the 2025 Arkham Asylum. And again, despite being nearly 20 years old, it still holds so well, only beaten by the magnificent Big Fig variant from the LEGO Batman movies. For number 10, we have the very iconic and classic Grey Batman. I understand that a lot of people love this version of Batman, and of course I do too. I just prefer the other one that I've not talked about yet. This one has great contrast, which I like a lot, unlike the black suit version which I already talked about. What can I say, I'm a sucker for grey suit Batman. Fun fact, LEGO actually remade this suit back in 2021, but that one too is so rare because it came in a LEGO Store exclusive accessories pack. Number 9, 2008 Robin. This is an amazing minifigures. I just don't like the hair as much in comparison to the other version. Moving on. Number 8, we have the Joker. This is still by far one of the best versions of Joker we have. I know the torso design is a bit outdated, but the thing that really makes it minifigure shine is the head. In my opinion, this is still by far the best Joker head LEGO has ever made. It has such a sinister look, it's both creepy and menacing while also being quite goofy. It's so perfect. Also, the hair is so over the top, I love it so much. As for the next spot in our list is Scarecrow. LEGO was able to translate this character perfectly into minifigures. What makes this version of Scarecrow so unique is the special glow-in-the-dark head, which I think is a perfect choice for the characters. I wish I could show it in action, but the one I have barely glows anymore. One downside to this minifigure though is the fact that it might break down to dust when you touch it, as it is made out of the dreaded reddish brown color. In fact, that's the reason why I barely animate these minifigures in this video. They're so priceless and I wouldn't want to risk breaking them apart. The 6th spot will go to the best Batman in my list. What can I say? I love my grey suit Batman, but what's better than a grey suit Batman? Grey and blue suit Batman. This one has special emblems similar to the one from The Dark Knight Return, and the color scheme reminds me a lot of the Batman from the mid-2000 era, which I really like. Kinda wish this one came in more sets though, as it's so difficult to find. For the 5th place we have Mr. Freeze. This minifigure is still probably the most iconic of all the versions we have. I like how they use the Insectoid helmet, which I think is much better than the recent version we got. As for our 4th place, it will go to Harley Quinn. A perfect minifigure in my opinion, probably the best version of Harley Quinn. I know this might be controversial, but I do like the use of the color's eyes for some minifigures. It was done perfectly with Indiana Jones female characters and the new version of Lloyd, and of course, this minifigures. It truly reminds me of the animated series version of her. Number 3, we have Two-Face. Just like the previous minifigure, this version of Two-Face is still the best version in my opinion. They went all out with this minifigure, gotta love that specialized hairpiece. It's so crazy to think that the black and white Two-Face has not been remade yet, despite being nearly 20 years old. I really hope LEGO would remake him one day, though the future of LEGO DC is very bleak these days, so I don't know how long we have to wait. Number 2, we have Nightwing. What is there to say? This minifigure is awesome! Again, by far still the best version of Nightwing we have ever gotten. I know some people may not be a big fan of the hair, but I love it. It's so zany and over the top. Really sells the idea of Dick Grayson trying to prove himself by being over the top, cool, hero with anime-inspired spiky hair. This version of him specifically really reminds me of Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. And our number 1 will go to the 2006 Robin! Oh man, I really love this minifigures. It's crazy how much of a difference a hairpiece could make. I guess that's also applied to real life too. But all that aside, this minifigure is perfect in every way possible. I just love how colorful this Robin looks, and the face is so adorable. He looks so happy to be here. It might be weird to say this, but this minifigure really gives off such a positive vibe in my opinion. Also, ever since I was a kid, I've always been a fan of Robin. He's always been my favorite character from the Batman video games, comic, or movies, or any Batman media whatsoever. So that's probably why I so gravitate toward this minifigures, because, you know, he's my comfort characters, what can I say? And that's it for our list. I hope you enjoyed the video and feel free to share your list on the comment section below. And see you next time, have a good day and thanks for watching.